Hey guys, today we're going to be learning about Pythagorean Theorem. Below we have a picture of a right triangle. Now on this right triangle we have two sides that are called legs. The two sides that are called legs are connected to the right angle here. And then we have the hypotenuse that is across from the right angle. The legs are labeled A and B, and the hypotenuse is labeled C. In a right triangle, the sum of the squares of the lengths of the legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse. If A and B are legs and C is the hypotenuse, then we know that A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and this only works for right triangles. Now what all of this is saying is if we made squares that are coming out from each of the sides, this square that I just drew plus this square has to equal this square here. So A squared, the square that branches off from the side length A, plus B squared has to equal C squared. So let's try that out below. We have two examples that we're going to practice. On this first one, we are trying to solve for the hypotenuse. So we're trying to figure out what is the length of C. So again, our formula that we're going to use is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A squared and B squared are the two legs that are connected to the right angle, so we'll label this one A and this one B. And we're going to have to figure out what A squared is. So we're going to have to take 24 and square it. Then we're going to add that to whatever B squared is, 7 squared. And then that's going to tell us what C squared is. So 7 squared is 7 times 7. Remember, if we raise something to the second power, it's that number times itself. 7 times 7 is 49. And then we have to figure out what 24 times 24 is. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Add a 0. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4, and add them up. And then I'm getting 576. So 24 squared is now 576, and then we would add that with 7 squared, which is 49. And that still will tell us what C squared is equal to. So let's add these two numbers up together. 6 plus 9 is 15, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 6. So this is equal to 625. Now this is C squared. Our goal is to figure out what is just C. So to figure out just C, we need to take the square root of 625, and that will tell us our side length C. So when we take the square root, that will tell us the C. That will cancel away the squared. Well, let's try 25 times 25. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Add a 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And that does give us 625. Remember, taking a square root of 625, we can't really just divide. Some people like to divide by 2, and that will not help us. It's kind of just a guess and check game to figure out what times what will equal that number. And 25 times 25 is 625. So our answer for C is 625 centimeters. Alright, let's try one more. So again, remember we have the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared. On this first one here, we had to take 24 and 7 and square them. And then since we knew a and b, we added them together to get 625, and then we took the square root. Here, we're going to take our two numbers and we're still going to square them. Now let's look and see what we have. B is what we are looking for. So this time we're trying to find one of the legs. This is the other leg here because it's connected to the right angle. So this is A. And then this opposite side from the right angle, this is C. So we know the hypotenuse this time. We're trying to solve for one of the legs. So let's start with taking our numbers and we are going to square them. So 12 times 12 equals 144. And then we're going to do 15 times 15. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Add a 0. 1 times 5 is 5, and then 1 times 1 is 1. And add those together. And we got 225 here for c squared. Now let's plug in the information that we know. So a squared is 144 because we took a and we squared it. B squared, we don't know, but we do know c squared is 225. If you notice, previously we added to figure out c squared. Well, this time we already know c squared, so we're working it backwards. We're going to need to subtract to figure out what this missing piece is. So this time we are going to subtract 144 from 225. Five minus 4 is 1. Borrow from the 2, make this a 12. 12 minus 4 is 8, and then 1 minus 1 is just 0. So when we subtract, that canceled away the 144, and now we know that b squared is equal to 81. And that would be if there was a square coming out from this side. This square's area is 81, but we're just trying to solve for b. So again, like we did earlier with 625, we took the square root of it, so we're still going to take the square root of 81. So since b squared is equal to 81, we want to cancel away that squared, so we're going to take the square root of 81, which is equal to 9. So the length of side B is 9 inches. So remember our formula is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. No matter what, the numbers in the triangle, you're always going to square them. You're going to do like 24 times 24 or 15 times 15 to square it. Now if you're looking for the hypotenuse, you're going to have to add the two legs squared together. If you're looking for a leg, you're going to take the hypotenuse squared and subtract it with the leg that's squared. And then always at the end we take the square root, and that will tell us our answer. So sometimes you'll add if you're looking for the hypotenuse. Sometimes you'll subtract if you're looking for the leg, and then take the square root. Thank you guys for watching.